Hey guys, my name is Mike Carleo, and this is my third installment of my Guitar Player Backpack. And today, we're going to be speaking about double stops. Now, a double stop, plain and simple, is just when you pluck two strings at the same time. Now, this can really add a different tone to our playing, whether it's an attitude tone like Angus Young, or a moody tone like Jeff Beck. Now, I'm going to be practicing them using pentatonic scales, and then afterwards we can use them in context with some tunes. So, let's get started. Double stops are usually played with adjacent strings with notes that are pretty close to each other. So the pentatonic scale is going to help us practice this. When we practice in A minor, we're going to be starting on the 5th fret. So let's practice our pentatonic scale with just single notes. So we're going to be using the first note on each adjacent string and then the second note on each adjacent string. So if we use both of the first notes, we're going to be barring two strings at the same time with our first finger, because the first note of the big E string is 1 and the second string, the A string, is going to be 1 as well. So it sounds just like that. Then the second note of each of the strings is going to use the 4th finger on the big E string and the 3rd finger on the A string, which is the 8th fret and then the 7th fret. And then we're going to keep climbing the scale using this technique. And then we turn it right back around. So two things to note. The first thing is that my picking pattern is always going to be down strums. Now I do this because I like to make it really clean, and using down and ups can be a little sloppy until we start practicing a little more. But when we first get started, let's just use down strums. The second thing is I like to use 2 fingers when it comes to the second note of the scale on any scale. I also can bar, but sometimes I'm a little sloppy, and that third note on the 3rd string will come out as well, and we don't really want that. To make sure you can be really clean, use 2 separate fingers. So it's going to look like this in its entirety. And then you can start doing this with all of the shapes. So for instance, the second shape's a little trickier because of the fingering. So I'm going to play it by itself first. So it'd be 2 and 1, 2 fingers, 1 finger, 2 fingers, 1 finger, 2 fingers, and then a little tricky. And I shift with my first finger, then play with my 2 fingers. Once you get really comfortable doing the first shape, you can start moving up to the second shape, the 3rd shape, and then so forth. So that is it for double stops. So let's use a couple of tunes to practice what we just learned in context. Now the first tune I want to go over is called Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. Now this is one of the most classic Eric Clapton licks. So let's get right to it. The first double stop is going to use our 3rd finger and our 2nd finger. Our 3rd finger is going to fret the 12th fret on the D string. And then our 2nd finger is going to fret the 11th fret of the G string. So that's going to be the F sharp. Now this is all based off of the blues scale in D. So if we just play the blues scale by itself, we can get a better shape and a better look at it. Now the only thing that he does differently is use the F sharp. Now in the blues scale, it's just an F natural. But this is more of a hybrid scale, so it gives it a major quality. So it has that type of quality. Now let's get back to the double stop. So we're back here, and all he does is hit the first one and then slides down 2 frets, staying stationary with our fingers, and then back up. So we do this with 4 8th notes. And then he goes right down the blues scale. Now he does that 4 times when he starts singing. Then the 4 chord comes, which is the G chord, and then we're going to do a double stop using our barring on the 3rd finger with the 12th fret. So we have the G and the B string being barred with our 3rd finger. Then we're going to bar the 1st finger with the 10th fret on the G and the B as well. And again, 4/8 notes. We can also use our 2 separate fingers, our 3rd and 4th finger, which is what I prefer, but theirs can be both. So anything that you're comfortable with, you can use either the 2 separate fingers or the bar. It doesn't matter really what you bar with, either 2nd finger or the 3rd finger. I prefer the 3rd finger because of the way the scale works, but to each his own. So let's get right to it. So it's again 4/8 notes, and then he goes down the blues scale in G. Okay, let's do it in its entirety now. So we got the 1 chord. Alright, so that is the first tune, Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. The next tune I want to go over is called Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. Now this one is slightly easier than Sunshine of Your Love by Cream, but this one does the same exact thing, so let's get right to it. This one uses open strings, so it's going to be a double stop using the D and G string open, and then we're going to use our 1st finger to bar the 3rd fret of the same 2 strings. So this song only uses the D and G string. And then we're going to use our 3rd and 4th finger for the 5th fret. And then again 0. And then your 1st finger on the 3rd fret. And then we're going to slide from 6 to 5 using our 3rd finger and our 4th finger. And then back to 0. Then 1 on the 3rd fret, 3rd and 4th finger on our 5th fret, back to 1 on the 3rd fret, and then 0. So in its entirety, very slowly. And at real speed. So it's very important for us not to pluck any of the outside strings. So we want to make sure this sounds very clean and not muddy. So that's Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. So double stops can give us a very different tone when we play. Now every experienced guitar player should be able to pull this out of their arsenal when they're soloing or when they're doing rhythm playing. Now we have 2 examples of rhythm playing, whether it's Sunshine of Your Love by Cream or Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. It could be a very, very good tone setter for behind a vocalist. Now it's also great when you have an Angus Young solo like Highway to Hell to use it in a lead sense. So it's awesome all around, and it's very important for us to be able to get this concept. So if you want to learn about me more, you can check me out at my website below, michaelcarleo.com, for more information. Thanks for checking out this installment. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.